Ready. You ready?
What's good? It's your boy DJ A-Bro, and this is the Dynasty Bro Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 97. Let's go!
Hey, I'm pretty sure it's episode 92, but we definitely gonna get up to 97. Hey, what's good, brothers and babes? I gotta do this like that, how he would do it. What's good, brothers and babes? It's your boy Dynasty Bro Dot here with my co-pro. I think I just butchered the intro, man. Man, I need that. But hey, this is the Dynasty Bros. We back with another episode. We got DJ Ava on the back. As you guys can see, we got a special guest here. Say what's up, Felix.
What's going on? What's going on? Prayers up to Dot. Hoping for a speedy recovery for him. I don't know if I can fill his shoes though, but I'm gonna try.
Hey, man, I definitely think you can, and we're definitely gonna get you back on when he's back in action, man. But hey, we got a fire episode for you guys this week. We brought the man on to talk campus to Canton. So, it's this hot new format that's taking over, fantasy football, dynasty football, Devy land. So had to bring you on, Felix, to talk us through, coach us up on, what this is all about.
Well, first of all, this is the first show that I've been on that's got a live DJ. That's the most unique thing. I mean, get a DJ some, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, campus to Canton, it's the best format. It's the best format that there is right now. It's essentially I say it's a dynasty league, but it's really a deep Devy league. At its core, you have two teams. Every player has two teams. You have one full college roster. You have one full NFL roster, and there's a college championship that the players play for. And when your players graduate or declare for the NFL draft, they become a part of your NFL roster. So it's one league that has two championships, an NCAA championship and an NFL championship. If you have ever played Madden or played the NCAA video game and uploaded a draft class back in the day, up to Madden, then that's what it is. That's what it is. So all of these rookies coming in like CeeDee Lamb, you could have owned. Well, CeeDee Lamb's not a rookie, but Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence and those guys, you could have owned them last year and had them scoring points for you on the college side of your campus to Canton league. That's all it is. That's all it is.
That's fire, man. Appreciate that quick overview. Hey, look, as we always do with all of our guests, we got to get to your football resume first. Yeah. As you guys can see, he was ready to just jump into the campus to Canton. So, I already know you got the website booming. So, yeah, man, we're definitely going to get more into that. Hey, but before we do, man, let's get into your football resume, man. So with all of our guests, something we like to do, we like to first learn about your real-life football experience. If you played, just share some stories, any glory, stories you want to share. And then also let's touch on the fantasy football side, like how long you've been playing, if you want to talk about the number of championships you have, stuff like that, man. So, man, so let's go and get into it, man. Let's start with the real-life football experience. Have you ever played?
Yeah, and campus2, the number 2 Canton.com is the website, campus2canton.com. My football resume started early. I can remember my uncle played in the NFL for 13 years. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler for the Arizona Cardinals, played against Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson and those guys. And I can remember being around him and even a couple of times being around the team as a kid and just loving the game. I can remember being 6, 7 years old, and we would drive past, and I wasn't old enough to play rocket football yet. That's what we call it back home in Michigan, the rocket. And we would drive past like a high school and be like, Mom, I could go play with them, being 6 and 7 years old. So I played all throughout high school. I played every, skill position. I played quarterback for 3 years, wide receiver, kicker, punter, safety, corner, all that stuff. Ended up going to Grand Valley State University, where Brian Kelly started. Brian Kelly's the head coach at Notre Dame now. He wasn't there when I was there, but he started at Grand Valley. Played cornerback there, played with Brandon Carr is probably the most notable teammate of mine. Brandon Carr played for the Cowboys and Chiefs and Ravens and those guys. Cam Bradfield played for the Jaguars. So that that's my experience. Won two national championships with Grand Valley there, and then
congrats.
I think my junior year or my senior year, Brian Kelly went to Notre Dame, and he took my head coach with him, Chuck Martin, and then Chuck is the head coach at Miami of Ohio. Now he asked me to join the team as a GA, a coaching assistant, But one, I didn't want to make $15,000 a year, and I already knew what I was going to do after undergrad. I think where I would be like if I had taken him up on that offer. But
sideline NFL sideline.
I mean, I might be at Miami of Ohio as like a DB's coach or something like that. That's probably what I would be. That's probably what I would be doing. But my career ended when I was I think 27. I was playing, still had the love of the game, was playing flag football indoor and I didn't have no real injuries like my entire career playing football, and then tore my meniscus just running in a specific direction and cutting. So, but I still love the game. I write about the game. We've got the website. But I'm passionate about writing. If you go to my Twitter, at Sharpe Review, I have an article pinned there that was posted on SB Nation's Texas football website on Texas wide receiver Troy O'Meary. So I just I still love the game, and I find outlets for it, like the website, like Campus to Can formats, Twitter, my Twitter page, looking at film, all that kind of stuff.
Nice, man. You definitely got a deep resume and definitely accomplished. And Grand Valley State, man, that's a nice program. So shout out to you for playing at a program like that. Now let's transition, man, to the fantasy side. How long have you been playing fantasy football?
I remember the first time I did a fantasy draft, I was working a job in the summer when I was an undergrad. So that would have been like between 2005 and 2009. And I just did like a mock draft on ESPN, really, because I didn't have anything to do and I was just passing the time. And I remember because I took Willis McGahee over Brian Westbrook, and everybody in the chat, if anybody is old enough to remember those old ESPN mock drafts, everybody was clowning me, but I didn't know any better. So I would say I really started playing fantasy football since 2009 or 2010 or so. That's probably, Arian Foster, Marshawn Lynch really early. I can remember they led me to an early championship. That's probably when I started playing for real.
Nice. All right, man. I got a backup on the resume. I already know if my guy Dot was here. You mentioned you play some corner. I don't know if you know, but I play some wide receiver, so I already know he will hype that.
Are you gonna be at the Fantasy Football Expo in Ohio?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to bring the cleats. I've been sprinting too. I'm trying to get my weight down. I might be ready for
Yeah. Hey, we might have to get a matchup. I might throw my hand up, man. They got to send it, so we'll see what happens.
Well, you're going to have to get off the line of scrimmage first, so we'll see.
There we go.
Hey, my guy said he got 85 hands. 85 hands if it was Madden. Just throwing that out there. 85 hands.
You know what? I didn't get a lot of play time at a Division II school, so I probably got like 67 man coverage skills. So
okay.
Vic might get me.
Hey, you can do damage with that, man. I actually work with those corners on Madden, bro. Especially the ones that are 95 speed. Hey, we'll take that.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right, so now let's transition to what's the word. So this is where we get into the news segment. Basically, this is where we just like to touch on what's taking place throughout the league, NFL news, and entertainment. So we'll just run through some stuff and we'll just chime in on it. So let's start with Davante Adams. So he's attending training camp right now without an extension. So after this year, he's basically he could be a free agent. So my question to you, Felix, do you see Davante Adams returning to the Packers with an extension after this year?
I was going to say that like high-profile wide receivers like this don't change teams, and I was thinking about it at first, but that's not true. I mean, you just had Julio leave. You had DeAndre Hopkins go from the Texans to the Cardinals, all for different reasons. Antonio Brown before the meltdown, he didn't get an extension with Pittsburgh. He went to remember he was supposed to go to Buffalo, and he was supposed to go to Buffalo, didn't. Went and had the meltdown with the Raiders. He should have gone anyway. I'm getting sidetracked. He should have gone to Buffalo. Look what Stephon Diggs did with them.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's an elephant in the room though. It's Aaron Rodgers, right? If he's a Packer after this season, then it makes it a lot more likely that Davante Adams is a Packer too. As for everything they've done to Aaron Rodgers, if they had the nerve to he comes back to training camp and plays with that team, and then they didn't and they didn't re-sign Devontae Adams, he's probably going to light the building on fire. So I think that they're tied together. I think if I had to bet, if I had to bet, I would say that it's going to be Devontae Adams is going. He's only 28 years old. His style of play isn't really reliant on speed. He's got that quick twitch. You can't really put your hands on him. We saw, Marvin Harrison age really gracefully playing that way. So I would say that he's still going to be there. And I think Devontae, we keep seeing NFL players play longer and longer, especially at wide receiver and at quarterback. So 28 years old doesn't scare me for him. He still probably has 3 years of really high level competition. So I'm thinking if I'm the GM of Brian Gutekunst, or however you say his name, I would sign Devontae Adams to restructure, probably a 3-year deal, and he's still going to have good football after that. So I think that he's still going to be there.
Man, you actually made a good point, because coming into this, I was thinking, you know what, they do got to address the elephant in the room, which is, sorting out the Aaron Rodgers situation. So how could they move forward with a Devontae without nailing down Aaron Rodgers? But after rethinking that, that's another incentive. Let's lock in Devontae. That way we let Aaron Rodgers know, like, hey, we still got your guy here. That should be more than enough for you to come back. Of course, we'll still get you some more playmakers. So,
that's actually why I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back, because I think he has too good of relationships with the dudes on that offensive line and Devontae. He's not going to just leave them out in the cold and have them go with Jordan Love. I think that he's going to be there come week 1. I think he's going to be there come training camp, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. Let's keep it in the NFC North. So let's transition to Chicago, man. So I saw this on the check down. Bears wide receiver Darnell Mooney, first pass from Justin Fields. He was smiling as the ball was in air. So that just goes to show, the Bears wide receiver core is loving their new loving their new quarterback. But on the flip side of that, we just saw Nagy put out a statement today saying Andy Dalton's the week 1 starter, man. So what are your thoughts on that, man? Should they turn the reins over immediately to Justin Fields, or does he got to prove it?
I was going to say everybody likes Justin Fields except for Matt Nagy. He's the one who doesn't really like him. Yeah. My thoughts on Justin Fields. So, what's my man's name at Pro Football Network, the black quarterback? I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's done a lot of good video work on Justin Fields, talking about how. So what the media narrative on Justin Fields was that he doesn't get past his first read. I don't think that that's true, and this is based on Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed is the name I'm looking for. Jordan Reed's work. Look at Jordan Reed's work on Justin Fields. Is that Justin Fields is a perfectionist, so he might identify the read, but he's slow to pull the target. That's why you see pull the trigger. That's why he threw. I don't think he. I don't have his stats in front of me, but he was not somebody who turned the ball over, and that's partially because he wanted to see it first and get the ball. He's just a step slow, and he's a perfectionist. All of that being said, Peyton Manning was a perfectionist also. I think Justin Fields is a super talented player, and he's a more dynamic passer than Andy Dalton. We know Andy Dalton doesn't add anything as a rusher. Justin Fields is a plus in that respect. Now, I know that Justin Fields ran a 4.5, whatever he did, but at his core, in his heart, Justin Fields is a drop back passer. But he can throw the ball. He can throw the ball everywhere. We saw this last year with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tua Tagovailoa. We saw it with Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert. And so we're gonna get to week 8, and Justin Fields is gonna be starting. It's unfortunate that they're saying from rip that Andy Dalton is our starter. And the only reason that they're saying that, because the Bears didn't know that they were going to draft they didn't know that Justin Fields was going to fall to number 11. They didn't know that they were going to be able to trade up from wherever they were to number 11 to get him. Everybody had Justin Fields going in the top 8, not falling past Carolina at the very least. So, that's why coaches get fired. They make these decisions like this. But I would, you may not see him start from the jump, but by week 8, 9, something like that, Justin Fields is going to play this season. He's going to play this season.
Man, he needs to be starting by week 4. I mean, I would hate to see the Bears miss the playoffs by a game or two because they wanted to, play around with Andy Dalton for half the season. So,
and they got the skill position players. I mean, you mentioned Mooney, who's just was a really productive player at Tulane, and Allen Robinson, Detroit stand up. He is what he is, and you got David Montgomery, and then Tariq and
Tariq Cohen.
Tariq Cohen is going to be there, and they drafted Cole Kmet in the second round last year. I mean, the Bears aren't known for offense, but they have some pieces in play there that could work if you got a straw to stir the drink, and that could be Justin Fields.
Man, and he makes that offense more dynamic. Like, he opens up the rushing lanes, the passing lanes. It just makes sense. So for me, I'm looking forward to preseason. We didn't get that last year, so I'm definitely all in on the preseason. So,
and you could even lean on him being a rusher while he's like learning the speed of the game and coverages and all that stuff. Yeah. He's 230 pounds, whatever he is, run the 4.5. Put him in there, do some read op. I'm not saying that he needs to run read option. He can absolutely run an offense, but he just gives you more options as an offensive coordinator. And I don't see how we saw Andy Dalton last year for the Cowboys. I mean, put Justin Fields in there.
That's all I'm saying. And he's on my team. That is what's most important. He's on my team, so put him in.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep it pushing. So, of course, the Bears did sign Justin Fields to a 4-year deal. So he landed his rookie contract, $18 million guaranteed, $11 million signing bonus. That sounds like a starter to me. All right, so let's keep it pushing. So earlier in the show, Felix, you did mention NCAA and Madden. So I don't know if you guys saw, but Madden actually dropped a teaser this week for their cover release. They had a bunch of GOATs, and then they had Peyton Hillis, former Cleveland Browns running back / fullback. He's basically like a Mike Allstott. But who do you guys think is going to make the Madden cover? Or who should be the Madden cover? How about that?
I got 5 names for you, and you tell me who should make it out of these 5, all right?
All right.
I'm going to start with a defensive guy, Chase Young. Chase Young, okay? That dude is a monster.
Year 2? Nah, he is a monster. Don't get me wrong.
Justin Jefferson, so another second-year player.
Okay.
Justin Herbert. These are young offensive guys, so I figure it's going to be an offensive guy. And Kyler Murray. That's who I think if I had to bet money, I would say it's going to be a quarterback and one of these young quarterbacks. The young up-and-comers are Kyler Murray. I tell you what, it ain't going to be Deshaun Watson. I can guarantee you that. I'd put the house on that. It won't be Deshaun Watson, but you got Kyler Murray, you got Justin Herbert, and then the young dynamic players and Justin Jefferson. And I really like Chase Young if they went with a defensive guy. I was like, who's a young defensive guy that they would go? And Chase Young's got that attitude and that fire. He would make a good Madden cover.
If I had to pick from that pool, I'm going Kyler Murray, but I'm actually leaning defense this year. And outside of those guys you named, I would like to see Aaron Donald on there. I feel like he's earned it. He's deserved it. Arguably the best defensive player in the league today. Also, man, on offense, Derrick Henry, man. So I see a lot of people advocating for him. So I would like to see between Derrick Henry and Aaron Donald, one of those guys make the cover.
It's hard to believe that neither one of them has been on the cover yet. I mean, those dudes it feels like those dudes have been in the league forever. And Aaron Donald has been the best player in the NFL for the last 3-4 years?
Man.
So I like that.
Yeah.
Are we leaving out Aaron Rodgers in this?
Aaron Rodgers, with the whole contract thing going on and want to be traded, that's a messy cover.
I want him on the cover, no jersey.
No jersey.
No jersey. Just on the
cover. Just with some headphones on. They don't put old players on the Madden cover, I feel like.
They just had Tom Brady a couple years ago, I think. And Gronk was on there a couple years ago. So.
Yeah, but Gronk was just retired at 30, so and then he came back.
He's still young.
Gronk wasn't that old. Yeah. Okay. All right.
We'll see though. So do you play Madden? I'm an avid Madden player. Everybody up here know. How about you, man? You play Madden?
I don't have the time now, but we used to play when I was in college, and the PlayStation 2 at that time, maybe 3, that thing would stay on for 24 hours. I mean, literally 24 hours. It would be games going on in the apartment all the time. This is the time where I would always play with I would pick a good defensive team because, the AI has more of an impact on defense. So I would pick the Ravens, and I would play with Todd Heap and Steve McNair and Jamal Lewis in the backfield and Derek Mason. Derek Mason was my wide receiver. So it's been a long time since I played Madden, but I go back home for Christmas, and even on the PlayStation, whatever it is, I still beat my little cousins because I know what coverages look like. I know what man defense is. Even if I can't push the buttons that fast, I still know when you're blitzing that corner, and I can just throw it over there. So
that's true. Cool. All right, let's transition to these injuries. So of course the OTA is going on, mini camps. We're heading towards training camp. So let's start with Calvin Ridley. He actually had a procedure done on his foot. So basically they're saying, he's basically on track to miss some of the mini camps. But what are your thoughts on Calvin Ridley's situation? Given, they just got rid of Julio, they brought in Kyle Pitts. Any concerns there?
Yeah. I mean, what's the procedure? I'm not a doctor. What's the procedure? They just had something on his foot.
They just called it a minor foot cleanup.
Yeah.
So clean some stuff up on his foot.
Yeah, I imagine if they're doing it at this point, in the season, right when training camp is about to start, he'll be ready for training camp, or he'll still get it in. That's a team that's not going to run the foot. So this is a fantasy podcast. That's a team that's not going to run the ball because they got Mike Davis in the backfield, and Mike Davis is a great pass catcher. I don't think he's going to be that dynamic running the ball. They don't really have anything behind him. If you think about Javian Hawkins and Kadri Ollison, who I think is a sleeper this year. Anyway, that's a team in a division that struggles with defense. So do the Falcons. They're going to have to throw the ball. You just lost Julio, and Kyle Pitts is going to be there. That's going to be a high passing volume offense. Calvin Ridley is a wide receiver 1, I think, in Dynasty and redraft. I'm not sure if that's even debatable. He is a wide receiver. He's a wide receiver 1, and I would be comfortable taking him in that range. Fantasy is all about volume, either in the passing game or in the running game, and he's definitely going to get it as their primary wide receiver for the foreseeable future. I'll tell you what, though, in Dynasty, I would be worried about the Falcons having passed on Justin Fields because, if you had that backup plan and he's from Atlanta. He's from Atlanta, and the Falcons passed on him. So that's the only thing you got to worry about, not this season, but in the future. What is Atlanta going to do at quarterback, and is that option going to be able to support the volume that Calvin Ridley is going to get this season and that he got last season?
Yeah, Falcons better get a QB next year. We got a couple more coming out next year, so why not revamp that core since you got rid of a Julio? So with Kyle Pitts and Ridley, that's something you can definitely build around. So. Easily plug in a rookie QB, with Matt Ryan. I'm sure he has another year or two. So, of course, he can coach that young man up. And from there,
let me ask. So we're talking about the Falcons. What do you think is too high for Kyle Pitts in Dynasty rookie drafts? What's too high?
Too high, I would say 103. 103 and up.
Okay. All right.
But I've seen him go at the 101 in some of these rookie drafts. But I'm not mad at it. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, you got Najee, you got Etienne, and you got Javonte Williams, the 3 kind of bell cow running back profiles. But Chase, the Bengals are going to pass the ball a lot. And Jamar Chase is a good player, a physical player. He's going to find success in a high-volume passing offense. And then he's probably going to be the primary target. I would say he's probably going to be a primary target over T. Higgins. So I would probably go – I agree with you. But I would go Najee, a non-super flex, probably Najee, Etienne, Chase, some order, and then Kyle Pitts. So 104 is right in the sweet spot.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's keep it pushing with these injuries. So Amari Cooper. Now they're saying he could miss the start of actual training camp given some ankle irritation. So this report concerns me only because they're not even prescribing surgery for this. They're just saying, hey, get some rest. So for me, if you're in a situation where you already get some, got some irritation, come week 2, week 3, week 4, are you missing games? Are you missing time? So hearing Calvin really go through actual procedure to clean some stuff up, that's more promising than hearing a guy needs to take rest until it just flares up again on him.
Yeah, I mean, but Amari Cooper, I feel like for the life of his career has always been kind of like an injury potential risk. So you had to be kind of watch out with him or have a backup. The good thing about that is that Michael Gallup's value is so low that you could just pair those. Michael Gallup has standalone value himself in fantasy. If you can, I don't know what his ADP is, but if you can pair those two, and if Amari Cooper goes down, Michael Gallup is probably a wide receiver too. So both, after CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper's at the stage now in his career where his ADP isn't like too high. His injury risk and the fact that he's probably the second wide receiver on that team, or he's split, he's a 1B. That risk it seems like it's baked into his value. And if you think about, again, pairing him with Michael Gallup, that sounds like the way to go there. Let's just hope that Dak Prescott is healthy. I mean, that was a nasty injury, and I don't want to undersell him coming back. I mean, I remember Carson Palmer going down against the Steelers in the playoffs. I mean, was damn near an MVP candidate and was like never really ever the same. Yeah. He had some good years with the Cardinals. So that's what I would be worried about more than anything. Amari Cooper's injury risk is baked into his value, but you got to see Dak healthy so they can be firing on all cylinders. He was headed for 5,000 passing yards,
man.
5,000 last year.
He was, man. So if we get that Dak Prescott back, then I'm fine with Amari Cooper, especially running him as my wide receiver too. So yeah. And you live with the sometimes he can have that boom or bust feel, but you just live with it. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man, we got one more injury, man. So, of course, my brother Dot's not here. I had to put him on the injury report. So he's definitely out right now, indefinitely with a hip injury. He actually had surgery due to an accident, but I want you guys to know he's in good spirits. Fresh out of surgery, already on a walker. So he actually wanted to record today, but we told him, chill out, get some rest and, take as much time as you need. So I just want to share all that with you guys, and I'm sure I just violated some Dynasty Bros HR
That's what I was
policy type stuff.
Bro, you didn't talk to HR
with the HIPAA, violating the HIPAA. But it's all good, man. But
as teammates, sometimes you got to protect one of your star players from himself.
Yeah,
and have him sit on the bench for a few extra weeks to make sure he's good to go.
Yeah, we had to take his helmet, aka take his microphone.
That's
what we had to do. So we told him
prayers up for him. Prayers up for him. That's not an easy thing to come back from. So wishing him the best.
Appreciate that, man. I told him ring the bell whenever he needs some more Jello. So we got him.
You already know.
All right. So look, before we get to the main topic of the Campus to Canton, Felix, let everybody know where they can follow you at.
At Sharpe Review on Twitter. That's SHARPE Review on Twitter. You can also find me at campustocanton.com. That's where my written work when I write usually is there. But I dabble here and there.
All right. DJ Avo, where can the people follow you at?
You can follow me on the Twitter at Dynasty Bro Avo and on the Twitch at Dynasty Bro Avo or DJ Avo, Dynasty Bro Avo, or follow the main page from Dynasty BrosFF Podcast because your boy will be on there every Tuesday going live. And if you missed it, yo bad because I was live today. Homies texted me and they was like, dang, bro, I missed it. And I was like, yeah, bro, you did because your boy was snapping. So, hey, Vic, where can they follow you at, bro?
Hey, my guy do be snapping. He be like at 6:45, but he don't be giving no time zone. So
nope.
You just got to catch that one of these 6:45. Eastern Standard Time Zone. All right, but you can follow me at ChiefsHostFF, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen, Dynasty Bros FF. And yeah, man, I want to shout out to everybody that listen to us, that rock with us. And again, thanks to Felix coming on, hanging out with us, filling in for my guy Dot. I'll make sure you guys give him a follow. And I'm excited, man, to talk Campus to Canton. So
follow Dot.
We're gonna get you in the league. We're gonna get you in the league.
Yeah, I'm actually already in. I'm in one Campus to Canton, and then I'm in one Devy league. So you actually touched on it a little bit earlier. You gave an overview. Again, do you mind just touch on the overview again? And then also, tell us why we need to be in Campus to Canton.
You need to be in. Let me start with that first. You need to be in Campus to Canton because it makes Saturdays better. It makes Saturdays more interesting. It makes Sundays more interesting. You know, you got those MAC games on Wednesdays and, you know, Thursday nights. You'd be like, oh, I got this dude on my team who I've never heard of. And then you're watching the game and you see him make a play. It just makes those things more interesting. I'll tell you what else, though. It makes recruiting interesting. You will be more interested in what's happening with who's committing to what schools and what those depth charts will look like, just in your competitive nature and wanting to be ahead of the curve. It's most people know 2022 is going to see a quarterback that's up there with Trevor Lawrence and, you know, some of the best high school recruits of all time, literally of all time. This kid, Quinn Ewers out of Texas, is going to Ohio State, or he's supposed to be going to Ohio State, but Texas has a new head coach now. And he was at one point committed to Texas. So is Steve Sarkisian, the new head coach at Texas, going to be able to steal Quinn Ewers? I mean, it's those, if you like stories, if you like following characters, I mean, that's the storylines. That's what Campus to Canton is. There's always something new around the corner. I hate to break it to y'all, but those who are in like dynasty formats or even just watching the NFL, Patrick Mahomes ain't going nowhere for the next 10 years. It's going to be him. You like it now. You like it now. You like watching Patrick Mahomes now, but watching year 8 when he's playing, you know, whatever team is coming out of the NFC, be like, man, I hate watching Patrick Mahomes every single year. In college, there's always a new chapter by virtue of players, new players leaving for the NFL, and then the new freshmen coming onto campus and making names for themselves. So if you like stories, if you like following, you know, the origin of a player until they become an NFL star, then you need to try the Campus to Canton format.
I like that answer because you even touched on Saturdays matter because you're tuned into the college football games just because you got a fantasy, you know, roster that you have in flight. And also, we all know with college, I mean, you can even turn on the TV. There's a game on Thursday. There's a game on Wednesday. Could be a game on Tuesday. So instead of having to wait till Sundays for the NFL fantasy football, got the college side playing, you know, throughout the week. So that's pretty nice.
And I think that most people would say that the learning, I mean, even I would say myself, that the learning curve is steep, you know, for the first year. But like after the first year, it's much like you know so much more after that. It's not that intimidating. It just comes very natural to you. You know where the value is. And if you don't reach out to me. I don't have a problem helping people out with their C2C leagues.
Man, I agree. My first C2C league, I basically got thrown into the deep end, and you know, I'm hearing guys saying, "Man, why you get him in that round?" I'm like, "That's the guy that I know. Like, I got to get my guy." So, but after a while, you start to learn, especially from your other leagues. You start to see player value. So, those are some things I like to do. Like, I like to pay attention to my other leagues, see how I can leverage ADPs, and even, you know, add guys to my list. You know, so like you said, I mean, it runs deep, but you learn to find your way, and I would say, you know, find your own process too. So,
can I give a couple of new players for folks to pay attention to on the college side, like exciting new players? How about Alabama's wide receiver JoJo Earl? He is a wide receiver from Texas in the mold of Jalen Waddle, Tavon Austin, what he was at West Virginia in college, just kind of juking everybody out of their shoes, can do everything. Is a freshman. I love Jalen Waddle. And let me go to Alabama's quarterback. Bryce Young is Russell Wilson would be the comparison. He can throw the ball everywhere. He usually scrambles to throw, and when he runs, he doesn't take hits. That's why I'm comparing him. He's also small. That's why I'm comparing him to Russell Wilson. And then let me throw out there. There's so many names. Let me throw out there Troy O'Meary. I mentioned I have the article pinned on my profile. Troy O'Meary is 6'5", 230 pounds. If he didn't graduate early to go to Texas, he would have been competed in the state championship in the 200 there in Texas. He's a good dude who can just snatch balls out of the air with one hand. He was injured last year in training camp, would have competed for playing time with seniors who ended up going to the NFL this year. He would have competed with them for playing time. May have taken the time. May have taken Brennan Eagle's spot, but got injured, tore his ACL. But I would. Steve Sarkisian came from Alabama's high-flying offense to Texas. Troy O'Meary is going to be a big part of that team, and he's a big dude with a huge catch radius. So I'll JoJo Earl, Bryce Young, Troy O'Meary. Watch out for those three.
Yeah, I appreciate those names, and that's actually one of my strategies too. Like just in general, we all know the schools that reload on talent year after year. So why not start with that as a baseline? But also, you don't want to overlook these other schools like the Kansas, the Toledo. You just never know. These guys pull in talent too. So don't just hone in on the big, the Power 12. Make sure you're doing your homework, doing your.
I mean, you mentioned Toledo. There was a time where, and I know I'm sitting here, you trying to close the show, and I keep talking.
Oh no.
There was a time at Toledo where they had Kareem Hunt and Deontay Johnson on the same team. Yeah. John V.A. Johnson, who was the other wide receiver, didn't get drafted, but is on the Cowboys roster. I mean, that's 3 NFL players just in the offense of Toledo. They all played there at the same. And Logan Woodside was their quarterback, and he's now the backup for the Tennessee Titans. So, yeah, you can find value pockets like that for these group of 5 schools.
Exactly. I mean, I know the name doesn't sound sexy, Toledo, but again, there's talent all across the country.
Yeah.
All right. So you gave us some tips. You gave us the overview. Let's talk about like some of the pain points. Like one thing that I've noticed with pain points with Campus to Canton is the manual effort on the commissioner side, like having to transition the college guys to the NFL rosters. So with your site, do you guys address that or handle that better to make it more swiftly? Or what were your thoughts?
And I should emphasize that our site, we have, I think we have more than 600 college players ranked. We have articles, strategy. You don't play actual campus C2C leagues on our website. Most people play the college side on Fan Tracks, and then they play the NFL side on any number of platforms.
Okay.
The thing I would say about that is to resolve that. Just have everybody do their own. Everybody, like you can give everybody their own commissioner access, and everybody do their own, and then just check it. Plus, I mean, everybody's going to be watching. They can check to see if you like. There's no way that somebody's going to get Najee Harris when they didn't have Najee Harris. You know what I mean? So,
if you came and took Najee from me, I'm gonna call that out real quick. So
right. So there would be checks and balances. So I would say, yeah, just have everybody do it themselves. But it's one time. Every fantasy league has a certain pain point, and I think I had 8 guys join my my NFL roster from my NCAA roster this year. So it's not a lot of work. And plus the format, what you get out of it, just that fun the entire weekend, really from Thursday through Sunday. I don't really play in any other format because I can't. It's not as fun to me anymore. I can't just do like Dynasty or I haven't done redraft league in years, but I can't do Dynasty anymore. I need that college aspect because when I'm watching my games on Saturdays, I want to have some skin in those games too.
Man, like I was the guy saying, I'm thinking I'm deep off in fantasy football with Dynasty. Like, man, I can't play redraft anymore. And here you are, literally like 2 levels deeper than that because you're bypassing Devy. Of course, Campus Canton is a form of Devy, but Campus to Canton is about as deep as you can go. So I can see that, man. Like, once you tap into that mode, it's like hard to go back. But I will say this: these other modes do help elevate your game in the other formats. Like, so of course, my Dynasty game elevates my redraft game, and my Devy game elevates my Dynasty game. So I'm in a couple Campus to Cantons. I feel like I'm deep water fishing, but it's putting guys on my radar, preparing me for my dynasty plays in the 3rd round, 4th round, stuff like that.
And by virtue of being in a campus to Canton format, you know what the next 2-3 classes are going to be like.
That's
so
true.
I'm already stacking up on 2020 in my existing dynasty leagues. I'm already stacking up on 2023 picks because I want to get Jahmyr Gibbs. I want to get Bijan Robinson. I want to get Tank Bigsby, Keyshawn Botte, Michael Mayer. Like I want to have those players, and your general dynasty player probably isn't considering that far out, or they don't know that they might not know the strength of the 2022 class versus the 2023 class. So everybody needs to get in a campus to Canton league just to make them a better dynasty player. That's one thing. I mean, you mentioned Toledo and some of these group of 5 schools. I'll tell you right now, 2 players that are not on a lot of people's radars are Nevada quarterback Carson Strong, who's 6'3", 215 pounds, started as a true freshman and throws the ball all over the place. Really strong arm. I believe he's going to be a 1st-round draft pick. And then Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama, really productive player, long, lanky, quick twitch type receiver. Mel Kiper has him in his top 10 for next year. Like if you were in a campus to Canton league, you would already be up on game on these types of players. So yeah, it's the best format, Vic.
That's a good point because, of course, we're going through these rookie drafts now. We already know it's a top-heavy wide receiver class, a little thin on running backs. But if you're in a Devy league or campus to Canton, you already projected that out in 2018, 2019. So that's a benefit, getting that, early foresight.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to add as far as on the campus to Canton? So, of course, you talked about where we can play. So, like you said, fan tracks. But anything else you want to add just on the topic in general?
I mean, I could talk about it all day, especially like players, but if anyone has any questions about campus to Canton, the format in general, or how they should value players, I'm on the clock and I'm considering this player or this player, just reach out to me at Sharpe Review on Twitter. I'll help you out.
All right. Make sure you guys give my guy a follow. I do want to throw this out there, man. I feel like Sleeper is going to be like one of the first platforms to figure it out all in one space. You know what I mean? Like they work pretty quick. They turn things around quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if Sleep is the first one to allow you to play your campus to Canton and also your NFL side fantasy football. So we'll see.
So don't tell anybody this, but we've noticed that Sleeper is following more Devy focused accounts. Like they've followed me recently, and like MFL doesn't follow me. Not only that, but I know people who've talked with Sleeper's executives or people who do coding and stuff, and they know that is an option that people are pushing for, but they're looking for whether or not it's profitable or whether or not they'll get exposure by adding it. But people are playing more college football every single year, so there's going to be one platform. And they could charge for it. Like Sleeper is free. Fantrax you got to pay for. People are going to realize that you can, if you do this right, you can charge people for it, and then they'll have everything on one platform. It's going to be. I wish I could make it myself, but we think that we've estimated it costs at least $1 million in capital to build something like what Sleeper has.
Yeah. Well, I want to say this. Like all the guys and gals out there playing campus to Canton, you guys are living in the future. And for me, the future's right now. That's where I always want to be. So you guys are ahead of the curve. So shout out to you guys, for just continuing to, promote that brand and, promote, that format. So
I appreciate it, Vic. I appreciate it.
All right, man. So now we're about to get into the closing. So with the closing, this is where we like to say something good to the people. This is where, of course, we like to give some dynasty and fantasy insights and analysis, but we also want to, reel it back in. And we're all, everyday people. So we try to give life, real life advice as well. So my brother, DJ Avo, he's been quiet. So I want him to go first. You can kind of get a feel for that. But whatever, comes to your mind, come to your heart, just put it out there. for the listeners. And yeah, man, I mean, don't feel, don't hold back. Take it wherever you need to take it. So I'm gonna let Avo go first, and then Felix, if you want to go next, you can, or if you want to go after me, that's cool too. All right, DJ Avo, man.
First off, if y'all hear that song in the background, that's my brother Dot right there. Dreams is one of the first songs we ever did. So back in the day, just want to throw that in there for my brother, even though he's not here. So first off, to him, get better. A little story about that same evening. I got that text message about Dot. I had my own emergency myself. I had to deal with my own family situation. So I just encourage everybody, as always, stay prayed up and living your purpose and moving your purpose. Because I promise you, God's gonna put you in the right way. He's gonna move you how he's supposed to move. I promise you, that's what's gonna happen. I was in the place I wasn't necessarily supposed to be. I was ready to DJ for the night, have these good times. I got called to a family member's house. I did what I had to do, made sure everybody was safe, and I got myself home. I wasn't supposed to be there. So I just encourage everybody, move in your purpose and do whatever that voice in your mind. I call it the God voice. Whatever that voice says, listen to that voice. That voice is telling you to move the right way and do the right thing.
Fire. All right, Felix, do you want to go next or do you want me to go?
I don't think anybody should go next after that. That was profound. I mean, somebody got to follow. I gotta follow that. You go. I'm gonna go after you. Hopefully, you don't say something as profound as that.
All right, I got you. All right, so I actually saw this on the internet, so I can't even credit the person who came up with this, but it makes so much sense. So I'm just gonna put it out there. Make time for your wellness, or you'll be forced to make time for your illness. Now, of course, we can only control so much. So, but at the end of the day, make sure you're creating time to meditate, pray, exercise, all that good stuff. And think about my guy Dot, man. He's been talking about his therapy and exercising more. And fast forward, he had this accident, but like I said, fresh out of surgery, already on the walker. Imagine if my brother wasn't taking those steps. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if he wasn't making time for his wellness. Would he be having such a speedy recovery? So of course he's on track for a speedy recovery. So we're glad to hear that. So I just want to put that out there. And for me personally, I work a high stressful job, and I used to let work sidetrack me, throw me off my workout routines. Now I prioritize my workouts. Like, hey, I'm hitting this workout in the morning, no matter what, and it helps me just balance the day. So make time for your wellness.
Yeah. We're near the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, or it appears that we're coming towards the end of it. Go see your grandmother and your grandfather and your family that you haven't been able to see for the last 18 months or so, out of just trying to keep them safe. It's time to go back home, and I'm really talking to myself here. I need to go back home.
Man, that's I actually appreciate that. With these say something good, I really be talking to myself too. So I go back. So it's good, man. It's it's therapy for us, man. So appreciate you being vulnerable there. And yeah, man, it is time to reconnect with family and friends and get back to doing what we were doing pre-pandemic. So let's continue to still be safe with whatever that means to you. But yeah, man, let's get back and spend time with our loved ones. So. All right, man, this has been a fire episode. Hey, Felix, I want to thank you for coming on, hanging out with the Dynasty Bros. We definitely want to get you back on, man, with the full crew. But let the people know where they can follow you at again one more time.
At Sharpe Review on Twitter, Campus2, the number 2, Canton.com is the website. Even if you put TO, it'll take you to the website. Campus2Canton.com is the website, and at Sharpe Review on Twitter.
They got a good developer over there. I could put in the wrong web address and it still take me where I need to go.
That's right. We try to get this money, Vic. Let's go.
I ain't mad at it. Hey, make sure you guys follow Felix, man. He knows his stuff. He's well respected in the industry. So that's why I'm glad you came on here to share some of your knowledge with us. I'm definitely gonna be tapping in and getting more knowledge from you. And I'm gonna take you up on that offer, man. Let's start another Campus to Canton League. I'm down. We might even get DJ Avo in.
Yes, sir.
Cheers.
Yes, sir.
All right, DJ Avo, with that being said, you mind walking us out?
I got you. Check out that. Hey, yo, check in here next Tuesday, the next Tuesday after that, then the Tuesday after that, because I'm going to be going live, and I'm going to be snapping every time. Make sure you tap in. Let's go.